Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. Yesterday, Act 2 launched and brought a good amount of new content. You got new weapons, new activities, new artifact perks, to a whole slew of sandbox changes. There's actually a good bit of very important changes that went through, including some unintended ones with a certain hunter exotic. But before we look at that in upcoming videos, let's take a look and break down everything you need to know regarding Act 2's new offerings, which does boil down to the story, Tomb of Elders, and new tonics/passives. Of course, timestamps will be present down below if you want to skip to any one section. Also, if you enjoy this video, a subscription would be much appreciated. I'm going to continue to put out guides like these for every new content drop. So, starting with the story, spoilers included if you want to avoid those, Act 2 follows Act 1 in the sense that it ends relatively quickly. Your first real objective takes you into the new Tomb of Elders activity, which unfortunately you do need to have all of Act 1 completed to unlock the Tomb of Elders node. This initial run is only one lap, as they're called, and ends after you kill a single boss. We'll touch more on what Tomb of Elders is all about in just a moment, but after you dip your toes into that activity, you get some more dialogue and exposition back in the last city, and a curated shotgun roll, which I've actually found out is another bugged roll, similar to what happened during Festival of the Lost. This Scavenger's Fate has Demolitionist and Desperate Measures, with Demolitionist being the illegal perk. It's not a crazy roll, but it is something to note, so if you're a collector of rare things, don't dismantle that. But after grabbing that, you'll then be thrust into the Tomb of Elders activity again. At this point, you can engage with it however you want, but to speed through this next quest, you just need to complete a few rooms and challenges. Once you're tasked with returning to Ido and Mithrax, you get the final mission of the act, where you have to enter back into the tomb for the third time, solve a cute little puzzle, and then confront Fickrel and Skolas. Here you get a sick cutscene that actually shows Reese, and then a disappointingly easy boss fight, and then one last task to return to the last city. Once you're here, you just need to collect some random items, talk to Spider, and then you'll ultimately break Aramis out of prison, which then concludes Act 2, as you finish by talking to Ida one last time. All in all, it was again a very brief act, with the largest drop being the Tomb of Elders activity. So with the story out of the way and how to get caught up on Act 2, we'll now move on how to complete Tomb of Elders as efficiently as possible. That means triple chests after every boss, how to avoid random deaths like this, and what it means to do normal Tomb of Elders versus the Contest of Elders, which the latter goes until you kill all bosses or wipe, and the regular mode is only one lap. So taking a better look at the actual structure of the activity, I didn't actually play its original iteration back in D1, but in D2, it's very simple. Each room has a modifier that gets activated, an objective to complete, and then eventually a side objective to complete. The modifiers you'll get are fairly common things like Brawn, Grounded, or Counterfeit, which has just recently been nerfed. To be honest, these modifiers just don't matter much, even as we speak about Contest of Elders. After you get your modifier, you then have to figure out what to do to move to the next room. For some rooms, it's blowing up Cabal generators, destroying Hive crystals with a buff, picking up darkness splinters. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's just very closely related to whatever race you're fighting. Nothing that you can't figure out by following your HUD. But while you're running around completing that objective, the challenge/side objective is going to pop up with a fairly tight timer. This will be a variety of things, like getting kills with special or heavy weapons, getting kills with precision damage or abilities, and using things like Scorch Cannon to get kills. Completing these side objectives is genuinely necessary, as they'll offer you an ammo box, reward you with some tonic materials, as well as increasing your Warden's favor, but we'll get into that in a second. So after you complete your first room, you'll head into the next, where you'll repeat the process with a new enemy race. But then after completing that room, you'll get to a traversal section, which will come with another side objective. This objective can just be killing one specific beefy enemy, completing the traversal within the time limit, collecting beams of light, or killing all enemies within the traversal section. You'll get the same rewards as a normal side objective, and then be met with the final room of the quote-unquote lap. This differs by having a boss as the main objective, with some type of prerequisite challenge to spawn them in/become damageable. Again, just follow the HUD, but during this boss fight, around 50% whenever that happens, you'll get another side objective, this time being designated critical. Now, you can actually kill the boss and move on as long as you do it before the timer runs out, but you do not want to do that for reward reasons. Also, these critical objectives is where those mines show up, and you might have already died a couple times while completing this objective. In these cases specifically, you want to look at the mine and see if it's sparking or if it says deactivating when you're stepping in the circle. If you complete those mines, you will explode and die. Instead, what you want to do is just defuse the normal ones that aren't sparking and say defusing splinter mine. And for all critical objectives, you'll really want to complete them so that you get the rewards and, more importantly, increase your Warden's favor or keep it at ×3, which then takes us to the Warden's office. This is after each lap where you'll get up to 3 chests which drop reagents and weapons or armor. Now, as for how we can ensure we get max loot all the time as quickly as possible, it all relies on the Warden's favor buff. As you've been completing side objectives, your Warden's favor has been increasing with each one up to the aforementioned maximum of ×3. You can actually check your progress just below your health bar with the goal of having it say Warden's favor, whereas if it says Warden's judgment, it's neutral, and if it says Warden's punishment, you get a secret little encounter that works to boost your favor stacks back up. But this should be avoided unless you're just curious about it. And then for gaining and losing stacks, if you fail a side objective, your favor will drop by 1. Now, as for what favor does, there are 2 big things. Favor ×3 seems to give you 3 chests after every boss, and being in Warden's favor skips the first encounter in each lap. This means you just do 1 encounter, 1 traversal, and 1 boss to get to your next set of loot. And this ability to skip encounters is what makes farming Tomb of Elders actually efficient, as you can realistically complete the full thing in just about 25 minutes. Probably less if you're optimized, and I actually saw some people taking upwards of 40 to 50 minutes without even completing it. And then to top it all off, at the end of your run, assuming you've been completing your challenges and have good favor and didn't wipe, of course, you get to this ultra loot room with 4 chests, which means you're getting absolutely drenched in drops, especially from that iconic middle chest. Other than that, Tomb of Elders is pretty straightforward, and I'm actually hoping they bump up the difficulty, as even on our first run without knowing anything and having a certain player work against us, we had full favor pretty much the whole time and finished in just 27 minutes. But now for the final portion of this guide, we have the all new Tonics and how to unlock the final upgrades. Unlocking Tonics is the same deal as Act 1, requiring 6 greens to make a blue and 4 blues to make a purple. As for what new stuff there actually is, we got 1 new volatile tonic tree that boosts our 2 new artifact mods, as well as giving us some DR when near enemies. Then on the enriching side of things, we have the all new Tomb of Elders section, which will come with the ability to focus our 3 new weapons, being Noxious Vetiver, Scavenger's Fate, and Grid Skipper, alongside some duplicate weapons like Bittersweet. But for the duplicates, it's probably best to just craft Onslaught Tonics, as you likely have a ton of their resources, and these new Tomb of Elders ones require Tomb Flakes. And then the final addition is in the resource section, where we got tonics for enhancement cores or prisms. The game is giving us some mixed signals here. And then to finish it off, where tonics are concerned, we have fieldworks and passives to our whole tonic system, which ended up with excess tonics that gives us a chance for crafting a multiple of the same tonic, and Tomb Reaper, which gives us more reagents and reputation from the Tomb of Elders activities. And when you have both of those completed by doing all of these minor fieldworks, you get the Key Fieldwork, which will reward you with another 10% increase in duration to tonics. You can see that here. Which seems to be bugged right now, is mine shot up from 1 out of 3 and plus 10% to 3 out of 3 for plus 30%, which gives our purple tonics a total duration of 78 minutes. And that actually should be everything. We covered stuff from tonics, Tomb of Elders, and our story. Act 2 is pretty much covered with all that. Let me know what you think about everything so far down below, and I'll see you soon with some weapon reviews and some sandbox updates, so make sure you're subscribed for that. And of course, you getting this far into the video means so much to me. On the road to 11,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you with me as part of the community. If you want to support me and support the channel, a like, a comment goes a very long way. And if you want to support me and support the channel, but you can't think of a comment down below Act 2. And with that, as usual, I hope you are having a great day, and I hope to see you around.